And we are live. Welcome to the Room Show. I got another special guest on the podcast. How you doing?
Good, good. Good to be here.
Really appreciate you for taking time coming on the podcast.
Oh, no, I love podcasting, obviously. I was like, they always said, like, it's funny because when I grew up, I went back to film school and I was in the fitness industry for several years before evolving and shifting into filmmaking and going back to film school. And when I was in the fitness industry, my director used to call me Tamara with the camera. So she was like, "It's Tamara with the camera," like how to introduce me. So I was like, "It's like camera, but not spelt like it." But I always thought that was kind of a unique way to just kind of flow into what our company does now, because we used to own a video production company first before we evolved into a podcasting agency. So yeah, it's a little bit about my backstory.
Nice. And I love podcasts and everything about it, the production, everything. Um, so you're a part of a podcast service agency, right?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Broadcaster Authority. We have different elements of the agency that we built over the years to help grow and adjust in the podcasting space. So we basically call it the three tripod legs that we have in our agency side. So we actually help on the side of podcast distribution, optimization, like your one-stop shop for your podcast. So when you come in and let's say you record on StreamYard like you do for your show, then our team would literally give you the first step we actually do is actually give you direction of the topics for the show, like what people are actually searching for on YouTube and Google in the industry that you're trying to go into. So if you have a business model and you're like, I have a podcast around this, like finances, right? So we're going to help you create that name, create that optimization piece of it. So say, hey, well, this is what people are actually searching for. And these are the types of shows and content that are taking off in the finance space in podcasts. So we help with that piece first, giving them direction of the topics. And then our clients record their shows and then they pass it off to our team and we do the rest, from the YouTube optimization to the distribution of the audio podcast, to creating all the micro content, the show notes, the social media copy, and the distribution to post to all the social media platforms. So it really gives that omnipresence feel for that whole podcasting service. So that's one of the tripod legs, I call it. And then we have our booking agency side. So these are for founders, CEOs, influencers that are looking to be booked on reputable shows that are ranking in specific categories, usually in their business model. So if they're like, oh, I'm in the real estate space and I want to be booked on real estate shows or finance, mortgage loan shows, whatever that looks like, what they're looking to attract more of, there we help with that piece. And then the third part of our tripod leg for the agency is our network side. So we're going to be opening up more of that piece in 2025 because of course COVID hit years back and we kind of slowed down that piece of in-person events, live experiences and things like that. And we started vamping up the last couple of years with my own podcast, Broadcaster Authority, where we have a partnership directly with SiriusXM Radio. And so we record our shows at their professional studio in Vegas. So we put
Fire.
together these PR experiences with our clients and for our clients. So they get to come in and have this like really cool experience and vibe on the experience level of our network. But we're excited because in 2025, we're actually stepping back into the annual event space. So we're actually going to be sharing ways to work with us, not just on our services, but how you can be a part and join our network, where we actually put together basically quarterly events that's kind of like a mastermind group to help people grow and scale their businesses, but also give them that format of how we help them do that with podcasting. So it's a lot to take in, but that's really what's encompassing the brand. It's something much more than myself. My show alone, it's not myself. It's myself and other co-hosts, so that we're building an entire brand and community aspect. So because eventually I won't be just the host of it. It will be other people basically in other cities recording the show live. So that's really what it's about.
Nice. So it's an actual legit like podcasting agency, coaching, filming, whatever you need in podcasting, you guys got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff covered. We wanted to be able to create that one-stop shop experience where you know, business owners, CEOs, founders, companies. We work with corporations as well. So it's really those that have built success in their company, but they're looking for that next level up, basically.
Right. And you have a team, right?
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah, we work with over 170 shows weekly. I have a team of over 45 team members behind the scenes. So my focus at this point is consulting, part of the agency side, so strategy and consulting with some of the clients that work with us on our consulting offers. And then I also host the in-person events. So I'm giving the strategy, the teachings, the trainings on that regard, and then the rest of the team manages everything behind the scenes with all the clientele.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work. 45 people working with you.
Super grateful. It's what's crazy about being an entrepreneur. You dive into this realm, right? And then when you realize and let go of things, like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I can do this, I can do this. But when you start to delegate and let go of control of different aspects and just be like, there's somebody out there that's passionate about this skill set, that's passionate about what they do, that is grateful and shows up consistently. Most of our team members have been working with us for 5+ years at this point. And so it's about building that community aspect in the workplace, but we also own a remote company. So we don't have the cost of an overhead of an office. We actually communicate through, virtual meetings and Slack to run a company agency remotely for all of our clients and teams. So I probably, like, what's very interesting is being able to build an agency, right before COVID hit. I'd probably say the majority of the people we work with, over the 40 people, I've not met them in person. So it's a Zoom meeting. But it's cool to say that they represent and have been building this agency, from the ground up since the beginning. And I've not met them in person because there's people in different parts of the world. We work with clients in the UK, Australia, you name it. Like, we have team members that can cater to all time zones at this point.
Right. And I like with the podcasting, we need like the agencies like your business, and I'm seeing more of them get made. And you guys provide services that podcasters need, everything, the graphics, the videos, the audio, the marketing, the
Yeah.
coaching that's needed.
Yeah, and it's funny because people come in and, being able to work with an agency like ours, it's a one-stop shop. It helps alleviate too many chefs in the kitchen, is what I say, right? Because if
Hmm.
you go in and you're like, well, I'm going to just hire a graphic designer, I'm going to hire a video editor, I'm going to hire a copywriter, a social media manager, all of that's inclusive in our process, right? But each of a client has one account producer that they talk to. So that account manager manages the entire hub of the team below. So there's like 7 individuals that this person is managing underneath one podcast. So there's 7 different people working on each account, but the client doesn't have to feel overwhelmed because they're only communicating with that associate producer who gives the feedback, that gets the approval process, gets access to the social channels. And so they manage the entire podcasting account and manages the entire team under that project floor. And so that's what's really important, is to, when you're putting out delegation on that, like, work, obviously I could be biased here, but I think it is important to work with a team that has the systems and processes in place where they all understand each other and communicate with each other fluidly each week, so that they can get things done and hit the deadlines. If you're working with multiple contractors in different realms, you might have somebody that they're just waiting on somebody that's a contractor, like, hey, we're waiting for this one piece, it's supposed to launch tomorrow. So I think those kind of stress levels can happen as well. Even in the corporation space, we've worked with clients where we came in. There's a client of ours that is it's actually a $1 billion company in the real estate space at this point. They generated 44 billion last year, and we managed their entire webcast. And what was funny and unique about the experience, when we came in, we literally we asked, how many people are working on your webcast right now? And I giggled because I thought she was joking, but she said 16. So 16 team members inside the corporate, because there's a lot of, legal and like direction overseeing. And when you have so many team members in these large corporations, they literally now just have two of their team members communicating with one of ours now. So you can imagine what release they did, because all these people would jump in on the webcast, and they were like, this isn't my main role. Like, I do other things for the company. Like, they're just throwing me in here. So we came in as a solution, as a one-stop shop to help them get their team members out of the weeds of the podcast when they really weren't supposed to be probably working on it. They're like, hey, you check this, or you be this person to contact this person, or you do this. They'd loop in like 4 different graphic designers, so it was just like, wow, like you think to yourself, like, this is great when you have a one-stop shop and a team that works together seamlessly, so you don't have to have other people like, I'm going to hire this person, bring in all these people that probably don't even know much about podcasting. And so that's really where we've come in and stepped in to help corporations, small business owners, medium sized businesses. So we work with people at different capacities of owning a business, and it's really helped us helped our clients to get out of that kind of busyness flow.
Right. Since you do what you do, running the podcast agency, um, what's a few tips that you can give to a podcaster who does everything by themselves? They're basically like a one person podcast agency.
Yeah, what I typically say to individuals. So, I mean, you've got people that have podcasts as a hobby, right? That we primarily work with business owners and businesses because they want to leverage podcasting as a way to make money, right? And so if you're really truly going into the podcasting space with goals and efforts to actually build out a podcast that people want to listen to, that actually is ranking, that creates topics of engagement, it's important to separate yourself from things that you don't need to do, right? I understand there's people out there that are doing things as hobbies, or they're solopreneurs, or maybe they're freelancers, and that's the lifestyle that they're going to. But the people that we genuinely cater to, they would want to delegate at this point, because your time is money. Time is value. Time is money. Whenever you're doing something that doesn't allow you to make money for your business, that's where you need to delegate. And that's really what I've told people on that side. Because if you're sitting there, like, I have a full-on filmmaking degree, editing, like, background, everything. I could sit down and edit a beautiful podcast, but that's not making me money, right? And so we want to build a company that we can provide more work for other people, because we're helping support, our team members, our clients, and things like that. So when we come in with the strategy piece, we want people to be collaborating with our team and talking about ways to help lead back to your offers on your podcast, or ways to get podcasting sponsorships. What is it that you can do for your show that will actually generate money for you? If people are like, yeah, it's fun, it's a hobby, I've been doing this for a while, and that's all you want to do with it, like, then that's probably fine. But at the same time, if you have bigger goals and ambitions for your show, like if you have very set expectations, have people work on the technical skills that anybody can really manage. And then you go out and be that person that generates the sales, generates the connections, sponsors other shows, pays for different things. What kind of advertising can you do for your show? And that's really the way that I think about it. It depends on who I'm talking to. Like, in our normal demographic of businesses and entrepreneurs and influencers, those that have businesses, have offers that they link in their show notes and their YouTube descriptions and things like that. Like, what is your bigger goal? And that's really usually what I ask people.
Nice. Gotta have that bigger goal.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, what's your biggest goal? Like, for your show, I'd be curious. What's your overall goal? Like, you've been doing this for a while. Like, you obviously enjoy it. What's like your biggest goal for your show?
For me,
Yeah.
obviously, it's to make some good money, so I could live. And
But you want to do
just
more, than just live, right? Like, what do you want to create a bigger impact? Do you want to create awesome opportunities that you can help share with other people? Like, what is like tell me why you created this show. Like when you first started it, what was it behind it that was your backstory for the show?
So I went to school for TV and radio because I wanted to do radio, like hosting, producing, like promotion, doing like events, and be a part of something. But
Mhm.
I had got into an accident, so things slowed down. I got an interview, but I didn't get the job. So I'm sitting around. I'm like, I got to do something. And then
Mhm.
I created the show.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't know what type of people to interview, so I'm just talking to myself, figuring things out, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna interview all kinds of people, singers, scientists, doctors, teachers, anything. And
Mhm.
so I wanna put out good stories and like be a motivational show and inspiration. And I can help people produce their show, I help them write their show. I want to help other people too.
See, and that's like what it's good to like share that story on your show. And you might do it often, you share a little bit more about your backstory because I think when people get to know a little bit more about you as a host, and your backstory, then they can resonate even more. And then when you do invite guests, like I won't go into my deep story, but I went through an entrepreneurial journey to go through and continuously still do so, right? So I started this company from scratch. I went to film school. It's interesting. You and I have a similar backstory where kind of you went for like broadcasting, things like that, right? I went back to film school and directed documentaries and things like that. And I was actually hit by a car and I
Oh
was
wow!
knocked out for 27 hours. I had severe injuries. I gained a lot of weight. I gained about 85 pounds that year. And because at that point I was still in the fitness industry, I started to feel like an imposter because I was starting to gain weight and I couldn't do my job, but I was unhappy in that career path. And so that allowed me to go back to school and do something when well, this dates my age a little bit, but go back to when YouTube started and figure out how that works. And so when I went to film school, I directed films, documentaries, entered film festivals. Some of the content took off, and those inspiring tidbits from people's stories they were sharing. These were more along the lines of businesses sharing stories at the time. But what happened was it turned around and it motivated me to share these stories out to YouTube. So the same system that we do now for our podcasting clients, we leveraged back then with what we called back then teasers and trailer videos, right? Now we
Right.
got shorts, reels, TikTok. You create those inspiring, catchy reels nowadays. Back then it was teasers. We did the same thing. We created under 60-second trailers that caught people's attention, that optimized and went viral on YouTube. One of the shows, we ended up having a trailer go viral and it had 888,000 views in a matter of less than 10 days. And that allowed us to see what could happen with YouTube. And it pushed traffic back to the full length documentary that then took off, that then was asked to be in multiple film festivals, and then IndieFlix found our company under our production company and acquired multiple of our films because they loved what we were directing. And so later on in life, so fast forward, we wanted to help more people. We thought, how can we do this at a more scalable level, more consistently on a subscription base? And we're like, what about podcasts? We can use the same model, apply this method through to YouTube as well with the video podcast, with the consistently weekly show, and help people launch, grow, optimize their shows on YouTube first, repurpose into the audio podcast, Apple, Spotify, Deezer, you name it, Amazon, and then have them lead back to sharing their journey, sharing their message, sharing all those compelling components, but also share their expertise in the business realm. And so that really helped a lot of people. And the majority of our clients have been working with us for years because they've seen an ROI on their investment over the time. And but it's always about just paying attention to what's working too, because things ever changing with algorithms, of course. But like when you have that core story that you're able to infuse in your show and your content more frequently, I think more people catch on to that. They're like, I really love his story. Like he had something, if you're not hired from a position, what do? You don't give up, you try again, or you go out and you pave your own path. Really, that's what it is. Like, I was that entrepreneur that did a lot of crazy stuff. I invested in my first coach, my first mastermind, spent tens of thousands of dollars that I didn't have at the time, put it on credit cards to figure it out. And you're always figuring things out, but when you start from nothing and you have these compelling stories, like, that's the drive behind what you do as well. So it's like, I give you kudos to,
Yeah,
share a
same.
little bit about
Appreciate
yours.
it.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's hard, like when you're stuck, you feel stuck, you're sitting around, your body's in pain. You got to go through like physical therapy and
Yep.
then like trying
Yeah,
to
I know
figure it
very
out.
well. Yeah. Yeah. No, I went through a health change journey again, later on in life, that I ended up losing another 65 pounds recently this last year, because I wanted to focus on getting back into the networking space and hosting events again. So it's like that journey of like, okay, I was hit by a car. I went to film school. I was offered a job right out of college, but do you want to know what they offered me? I was like, they offered me $12 an hour after spending $50,000 on this film school. And this is
Wow.
Seattle, Washington. I was like, I felt like defeated, right? Here's my younger brother getting out of college, getting his first job right out of the bat at Amazon, almost a six-figure thing. I go to film school since I'm a creative, I think, well, I've got to bring some kind of value. They're like, oh, well, we'll hire you as a video producer at $12 an hour. I said, no, thank you. I got the job, but I didn't accept the job. So there's things in life that are literally like, what is that monumental movement and change that's going to allow you to do more? And I told myself, you know what? I'm going to start my own company. And I did. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like doing this. So I'm going to delegate. I'm like, there's somebody out there that can do this much better than me. And then there was little things over the course of the years that I like let go of. And then finally I was like, I don't like to do any of this. I realized I was like, I love to train and inspire and teach and connect the dots. So I started more the networking. So connecting people behind the scenes for shows, podcasts, events, speaking opportunities. That was really what I was passionate about. And then holding in-person experiences was what I love too. So I then removed myself from different areas of the company so that the team can manage it, and they do things far better than me at this point, and they pay attention and they care. Like, that's the biggest thing, is to show you care, show up consistently, and put the effort in there. And that's why our team members have stayed with us for years, because we also treat them with respect and give back to them and give them, winning Wednesdays, you give them that kudos of like the encouragement they need, especially when they're while working remotely. So
Right. And I gotta ask this. So go back to that time when you did get the opportunity, but the pay wasn't right so you can live. Um, a lot of people would have still took it even though it was low, but you
well,
didn't take it.
I didn't take that offer. So they also call me the negotiator behind the scenes. So I'm very good at negotiating, and I've now invested in over 25 companies. And this is because I built my own investment firm over the years, from my own building my own wealth and generational wealth that I can pass down to my family. And it didn't come from anything other than myself and the drive to be successful. And so I came back. I said no. They called me back, and they're like, "What about $15 an hour?" I was like, "No." I was like, "No, I'm good." And then I came back again, and they were more of a startup, so I understood. But I think we negotiated like $10 up from there and started at like $25 an hour. This is quite a few years ago, so at that time it seemed like a decent rate. But I was like, I was making at least $18 in the fitness industry, but I was like not doing anything, right? So I was like, no, I got to make more than this. So I think at that point I accepted 25, and then they moved me up to $35 an hour, and then they moved me onto a salary later on. So I did grow with that company, but then I left the company and started my own company on the side. So I was building that company and stayed with them for a few years. And then what I did is I turned around and pitched some different corporations that would basically replace that income and more. So I had my side clientele business on the production side. And then I told myself, when I find, not if, it's always when you find these individuals, I literally had them sign a contract for a year. So you put together the year contract, and it was double what I was making with that company. So I got a new client, replaced that income, and then also had other clients. So all of a sudden I was generating, 6 figures in my own company in the first year of leaving. So it really is the drive and the ambition and the execution of things that really like get you going and keep you going. And there's so many trials and tribulations, and I have so many different stories. I know I don't have time for all that stuff, but it really is like you just gotta go after it. If something doesn't work out, you go after it. You negotiate. You up level the people that you surround yourself with. You up level your mindset. You invest in yourself more. There's so many more things that I've done that I was like, things I would have never thought to do back in the day, before I learned all these other things.
Right. Super nice. Got a great story. We
And
got to do a part
that's
two.
just a little bit of it. I was like, I got lots of stories, but yeah, we could do that at a round 2 someday.
Yeah, we got to do a part 2.
Well, I'd be happy to share more. So there's a lot of cool things that we turn around and generated our company and our podcasting offer right out of the gate generated over a quarter million in 2 days. So there's a lot of time and effort that went into a launch of our new company, and people just don't really think that things like that that can happen until it happens. And then you set even bigger goals. So going from somebody that was offered $12 an hour to leaving a company to doubling up there to making a salary of over 6 figures the first year to then opening up an agency that generated $250,000 in 2 days. That's like a significant jump of everything around my whole life and being. So from there, it really opened up other opportunities as well. So it's there's some crazy stories in there for sure.
Yeah, we definitely got to do a part 2. Really appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate you for having me. Thank you for connecting. And people can find anything related to our show, Broadcast Your Authority, on Instagram, YouTube, podcast. My name's Tamara Thompson, and my Instagram's Tamara Thompson Official. And then our Broadcast Your Authority Instagram is our account as well for our show and our services. So if people want to check that out, feel free to connect. We're always excited to speak to new people.
Nice. And I was thinking maybe we could do like an Instagram live sometime, and
that'd be fun.
Do like podcast bullets, and
let's do it. Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, I'll keep in touch.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Definitely have a good one.
You too. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Peace.